Hey guys, happy Monday. All right, we're kicking butt and taking names. We're moving along at a good clip, got good speed going on for us here, so let's get back to work. Okay, boy, I wasn't feeling good last night, so I ended up crashing out, and I had a rough night. So it's all good though. We're looking at this scene here. We're good and solid. Looks fine. I'm going to move to the next page. I think we'll have to get into this page here a little bit at some point, but let's bring up our next page and let's get back to work. Because I'll bet you if we cook at it, we can get both of these pages done today. Let's see if we can't do that, huh? See what kind of trouble we can get into. So I'm going to open sick bay scene, already set and rigged, right? So the scene is already set up. I don't have to work at this. So we'll take a look at our scene. It's loading in. I'm going to take our doctor over here. He's going to work on this. Put the doctor in here, just kind of turn his head this way. Just even though the maquette is not going to give us anything on this one that's useful for his head, because I am going to return his hands to human-shaped hands. So we're going to do this. It means that we're going to be ready for that. But his head, I'm just going to make it in the right rough direction, because as I have discovered many times, even when I'm not using the maquette as a guide, I have discovered that if the maquette's not aligned to the right thing, then weird stuff happens. I draw it weird, or something strange occurs, or something. So let's take a look at the scene for the setup. So she's going to be here, he's going to be here. So let's take a look at the scene the way this is designed. I'm not going to whose item is this? Let's move them together. Okay, so her eye target is definitely already all aligned. I have to sneeze. Sneeze, there we go, I sneezed. Now I'm going to pull back just a little, because the angle that I want on this is very straightforward. I want this very straight up angle. In order to get this angle, I need to be pulled back quite a bit. So this is what we're going to pull for that scene. Take a look. Right. Moving out here, completes Act 1. Momentary ghosts, free poses. Stand there. All right. And cut that open. And this is page 33, frame 1. So I'm going to say 2, 3. dash between it. I need to also standardize my. Yep. Take that. With Clip Studio Paint. Right. I'll copy. We're just going to put it into this top frame. Okay. It ends up between the various. So here's where our dialogue is. The question is, how close do we want to do it? Like, that looks fine, actually. And now that I've done this, kind of not sure if I want to keep any of this background. I might. That background's not bad, right? So I feel like this panel might be like better served to do this. Right? And then do half of it where it's him and half of it where it actually is showing what was going on over here. So I'm going to move this to here. Move just these a little over because we need more side over here to see what's going on. Okay. And we'll come back to that in a minute. But right now we're going to zoom in on him. And the camera is now way too... You can see how we're getting a distortion on him. And I don't want distortion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the camera. And I can do one of two things. I can either take the camera and pull his focal length up to like 55 or something like that, and then pull back. We're not going to... when we render, we're not going to use any of the background for this. There's no background involved in this, so it's just him. So we're going to do a couple of things. One, I'm going to have him here. Two, I'm going to bring his eye in because he's close enough to her now that we're going to want to be just slightly towed in on his eyes because he's staring at her like that. The male Genesis model has problems with the eye targets, with eye tracking, just the male ones, which is why someday I may go up to a Genesis 8 model for my males, but I'm not redoing anything right now. Okay. So we're going to make sure then we click on mouth. We can do a mouth open because he's explaining this. And then we'll render. Looking at us, but he's not quite. I'm going to call this frame 2A because there's a B side to it. Now, I could probably hand draw these guys when it's simple enough like this, but I don't usually want to at this point because I don't want to lose the consistency. Right, we've got a good consistency going on now with this. And so I'm a little concerned that if I were to, for any reason, see, we can now just have his face there. and that will give us enough room to do the artwork. Well, that's it, Brent. It's all right, dude. I'm just talking to myself again. I'm talking to myself. All right. Now I'm going to see if I can't roll these 2 pages out today. I should be able to. Or at least get really close. Okay. I'm going to do this. All right. Oh my goodness. Goodness. This is frame 3. We'll do E on this one in a bit. You know what? I kind of like the idea that maybe, well, I don't think it'll fit. And here we go with this discussion. Don't be a goofball. There. This has to be tight because the image is tight. There's not a lot of room here, right? So I want to be able to say, do you know anything about the girl? And then him to say nothing at all. Why? And this has got to be the nothing at all. Why has to be here. Okay, so we're that. Right. Hello. Hello. Come back to me. System not coming back to me. System not appearing. Not appearing in this movie. There we go. Put her at the bottom of the page. And you see why I'm saying I need to be much more cautious about the spacing of things here, because we only got a little bit of spacing for this. In fact, this is small enough that I may actually move the text dialog box to here. There we go. Almost home for a small cat. It could happen. It could happen. We don't judge. No judgment. No cat judgment. And the last panel for this one, I want to use the same sort of shot, but this time I want to put it so that she's looking at it. Because now we want him to twist and look at her. And he's been actually pivoting and turning around. So now we'll do this. I'm looking at this entire shot's going to have to be on the left side. Even though this goes to the right, this entire shot's going to have to be to the left side. So that's going to have to be, we're going to have to bring in her boobs. Why do we have to bring in her boobs? Because this way it shows that we're talking to the captain, because her hair is going to be draped down in front of her face like this. And all of this is on the left side of this panel. So we want to make sure the guy sitting on the bed anymore, that he has now addressed this, especially since Najor don't have mouths. So hard to determine how Najor talk. And you can see the problem there, making sure that looks somewhat like our captain. Catastrophe. It's like an apostrophe for the cat. It could be a catastrophe. All right. Now that we've done this, let's go backwards up through the line. Switch to pens, into the pen. Switch to black. Make sure we're on the correct layer. Make sure we're on the pen. First drawing in a while, you can tell. A little rough today. I had some problems. The solution for that, of course, is to slow down. Especially since we have so this. Rest of this. Zorched. The maquette lies a little bit here. So we have to clear this in a different way, because that's really the way it works. The maquette. So. I'm glad I redid the maquettes. They look so much better. So much easier to follow when we're so close that it's hard to tell where things are. Like in this instance, it's really hard to see where this blue line is and everything for the uniform pieces. He's going to get these worry lines. These are worry lines for Najor. Remind me at some point. Not now, because we're so close to the end of this book. I am not screwing around with anything else. However, it will be very important and vital changes at some point here. All right. And this one, I think, is just straight up. Although, what I can do to make my life a lot easier is select that. Not that. This makes it a whole lot easier to put in the background. So I'll do that. And then it won't matter. At the moment we can do this, but later I'll come back in and put it in the background, and that'll make that easier. Why make easier? There's still one more pass. Once we're done with all the inking, we have like 2 days worth of work still, but not a whole lot. Just go through, make sure everything looks nice, make sure everything looks clean, right? But here's a reason why we do this. If I go on ahead and cut that background out, I can do things like so. This is a moment, so I can use my moment sparkly stuff. Well, I mean, really, honestly, we're going to be done inking in the next 2 or 3, so not that worried. So what was I thinking? I was going to look at some of the patterns that I've got available. I've got some of this youth cross-hatching that I like, which we can use. right? So if we take this youth cross-hatching, right, this thing here, we can do something cool like kind of grab some of it. So copy, we go in here and we go under this and go paste. Right. We can do this, right? And that looks cool, right? And I like the way that looks. It gives it an artistic look. It looks nice, it's easy, and it's done. This is what we need to do last. So when I say we have 2 days, it's this stuff. Go in and go, that frame could do better with a little bit of a background, or this frame could have a little bit of a touch up here, or whatever. Let's add that into the background, whatever. So that's what I mean by 2 days. We only have a couple of days to do that, but it's not a big deal. Won't be that much of a problem. I'll do this one too. In fact, that panel is what I would call done now, because I'm happy with it. Except that I want to render it down and do all the gray tones, obviously. We are almost out of this thing. I also had a sudden realization. Yesterday I went to 2nd and Charles, which is a great store. Dang it, your nose has got a little bit of a bubble to it. Do the bubble. I went to the 2nd and Charles store and was looking through the manga. And there are a number of light novels out there. And for those of you who are not familiar with light novels, that is a novel that usually not very heavy, as in what they mean by light novel is they mean that it's not 50,000 words, it's 10,000 or 5,000, something like so. Anyway, they have a number of these light novels. And I was looking at the light novels and thinking, you know what? There could be light novel versions of Bellatrix as well. And the thing about light novels that I love is that they have illustrations in them. They're illustrated, it's not every panel. And I was thinking about this. I was talking to my wife about some of the idiosyncrasies that are going on that I'm having with, rectifying some of the things that go on with these characters. For example, none of the characters have underarm hair because I'm a goofy, weird kid that was raised in the 80s, and I think that's weird looking. However, they all have pubic hair, which is also weird because I'm a kid of the 80s. And so I have to put a lampshade on that because it's just weird and strange, and I'm having issues with it. And I know it's me being strange as an artist, and I understand that that's my bias. But again, it really bothers me. So the lampshade on this is that there was genetic modification, but they got over it, and they stopped screwing with it at some point. And so they stopped messing with the genetic modification, but not until after certain hair follicles have been removed from our bodies genetically. And so that is why I have the weird combination that I do. And I am absolutely willing to admit that this is my weird, bizarre 80s kid bias that has me doing this. That said, I've managed to make it so that at least, even though it is a weird 80s kid bias, it makes some sense in this story. Well, that's great. But now I have this situation where I have to explain that and use it through my eyes character which is a 14-year-old girl. I'm never going to be able to show that as a comic. That's never going to happen. Because they're going to have to be in the shower or something and have Alex say, "Dude, what's the story with the pubic hair?" Which you have to do something about that. Show it somehow. And now we got a 14-year-old girl, and then we're doing exactly what Raphael was talking about. So, with a light novel format, I can do it all in prose. I can write the scene out. And then whenever I show the panel to establish the scene, it can either be them from the back, so it's only from the waist up, but from behind, or I can have them in a pool, or you know what I mean? Like, I can do it where it doesn't seem awkward and weird, but still manages to get that scene through, which is kind of a thing. Yeah, actually, I mean, like all of the side stories that I'm talking about, I've been thinking about in my head were things like Mayrel talking to Alex about the history of the world. Because Alex needs that. She's gonna need to be brought up to speed. So they're sitting in Alex's quarters, and Mayrel says, "Hey, what questions do you have?" Alex says, "I don't understand. How do you make money? And, what kind of job should I have? And what should I do?" And things like that. So, these are all the things that would be great in a light novel format. So I could do that in a light novel, have one illustration or two illustrations, and it would be great. It would be perfect. And then I wouldn't have to This does not preclude the rest of the comics. The comics will still happen. But it's going to take a while for all these comics to come through. It takes a while for me to do comics. Yeah. Let's do this. Balloon Town. So that's two panels. But yeah, I was thinking about that. There's a lot of stuff that would solve some of my bigger dilemmas and problems and stuff like that I wouldn't want to have to mess with. It gives me a lot of freedom out there. Did you switch? You did. Like, why is this so big? He's much more stressed out now than he was before. Crow's feet because he's stressy. Anyway, the light novels could be written also when I don't have the resources to do all of this work, right? I mean, like, I could do those light novels by just heading over to the Starbucks, grabbing a coffee, sitting down, and starting to write it out. Which would be good because there are a lot of things I was thinking about the world and the environment, and I'm like, I'm going to lose so much of this if I don't write it down, and I'm going to lose a ton of this. I don't want to. I'm feeling like we've talked about things here on the show, and that I'm never going to remember if we're not careful. There was a ruling in Holland or Netherlands or Finland or something, and I was thinking about this. These two women were living together, and one of them passed away, leaving an insurance policy. And the insurance company didn't want to pay out the insurance policy because the two women were not having sex. And therefore, they were not considered a couple. They were not considered a romantic pair. And the court ruled that it didn't matter. They were the most significant people in each other's lives, even though clearly they were not in a romantic relationship of any sort. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking about how in the Unity, you shouldn't have to be, it shouldn't be your sex partner, because it could be anybody. For a long time with me, I was with my buddy James. For like 10 years, we were roommates. There was no sexual relationship at all. Neither one of us were interested in guys. But he was the most important person in my world at the time, simply because he was my best bud. We were living together in the same apartment. If I had died, all of my assets should have been figured out. He would have been the executor. It would have been a thing. Well, that's what I'm saying. Now I can have the Talking Heads show be these light novels. They're still out there. They're still talking to one another. The characters are all having a discussion. It's still interesting. but I only have to put in 2 panels because really, honestly, they're just sitting in a room talking to one another, and then I don't have to come up with all the business, right? There's that scene between Chang and Jen in Chang's quarters where we drew that before we started this as one of the sort of the test scenes. And it was a thing where we kind of had this test scene kind of go through the leaks. 100%. Right. And really, honestly, that would be a great one for the light novel because I ended up having to spend forever trying to think up business for all of them to do, for the characters to pick up stuff and put things over and hand each other coffee so that they weren't just sitting there going, blah, 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 blah. I needed more than that. This would be the perfect method for that. We're now 3 panels in. Cooking. We're cooking with Mazzolas. Yeah, exactly. This gives me a lot of room for that. That's what I'm thinking. And I like it. I like it. It will not be the end of the comic, of course, because that's ridiculous. Why would I be able to come? Right? You're next. I'm a comic artist. That's what I do. I'm a locksmith. But we can do these light novels, and I'll add in aspects of the world, and I'll be able to say some of the setting. Set the pen on the right layer, and here we go. This is aggravating. The ruler. Let's turn the ruler on. Get a control with the ruler on. Turn off the damn ruler. Show ruler. Here we go. That's ruler. Because see, the problem is with the ruler on, I can't draw out of frame, and that makes life so difficult for me. Let's redo his hair. So I don't need the rulers anyway. I just like to use the rulers for the benefit of. Anyway, the idea here is that very shortly somebody is going to go back to school, and when they do, I will have more free time, and what I will want to do is maybe go to Starbucks and just sit and draw or sit and write, and then I don't have to. So he is much more stressed out, so I'm bringing his eyebrows down further than the maquette had. And he's very stressed out as he recalls this situation. So he's extremely stressed out. His hair is still spazzy. If you're wondering what this is all about. Yep. All right, let's make sure that he's skilled. Select here. And here. Delete. And then when we put these back in, there we go. We can just sort of put a that. This top panel. It's an interesting. So one of the traits of manga is this trick. It's kind of where you kind of talk a little like this. You don't talk with an open mouth, right? I'll fix his hair later. You won't even recognize him. So this is I've been wandering the streets of this city for a long ass time. Sometimes her ear peeks out. Her hair just a little bit like so. Because her ears are. So sometimes they pull out in front of her hair. So the question is really, do I want to put that last panel back in, or the doctor over here? I guess I can. I was going to take that out. Just so there's business going on behind here. Give them a little bit of amount there just for reasons. There's no real, reasons. Make sure this is sealed up. Make sure you are sealed up. That wasn't a good one. And make sure that you are sealed up. Perfect. Take this guy. First, we'll take this guy and bring him up. Take this guy. And we'll just go into white real quick here. And just clean up the background. Make sure no part of our doctor is sticking out. No part of you is sticking out. And there's no point in putting the Jacine in this particular scene because here there's no reason to put this piece in because all it does is confuse things. So no. The same thing we'll do over here. Blacken in this part and blacken in this part so there's no confusion at this point. I'll do something about his hair because it's not going to come out right on this one, but I'm not worried about that at the moment. So here we go. We're going to put in the balloon tails. And we've got her talking and then him talking. I'll try. And there we go. It's not completely done. But I can also do this. This. That way I'll remember that I have something I need to do back here. And we'll still remember we do stuff here. So there's still stuff to be done, but not a whole lot. Let's get another few minutes of it. But 10 o'clock, and that page is out. Look at that. Kicking butt and taking names. That leaves us 34. Okay, I don't even know what the guidance was on this. Okay, so the guidance shows that we're on the other side of... We're dealing with her. Let's get a good pose for her that has her laying down. Basic laying down pose. I don't. Well, that doesn't surprise me. So let's just give her a straight up stance so that she's got a basic. We could T-pose her temporarily. That'll give her at least a straight up that we can deal with. And then this is called a T-pose. Normal parlance. So put her here. Get her on the bed. And once I do this, move her here. And this way, how should I do this? Should I rotate her body? No. Shouldn't rotate her body, should I? Maybe I should rotate her body. Right, we'll put her down on the table like so. Rest of all cameras to be a problem child. Okay, perspective view. Sort of felt like I had a default just lying there being out of commission pose. See, now we've got that confusion going on that happens whenever that everybody believes doesn't actually exist but does, and it cracks me up because it totally exists. All right, side to side, it's together like that, and bring our legs up. People don't always, when they lay down, their feet tend to bound or banded down, just a little bit like that. Okay. Twist inward, push outward. This way. Same thing here. Twist, bend, and put that arm here. Now we gotta remember that I didn't do the. There are a couple of scenes that we haven't done, or a couple of pages we haven't done. I'll have to go back and fix. He's just lying in a bed there. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Bend her up forward just a little bit like so. And then we go to close controls, head, is the eyes. And of course, her eyes are closed. Right? Now, to accomplish the scene that we're looking at here, this bed should have been sideways. So here goes the second thing of me thinking this through, which is, should the surgery bed be turned sideways? Because this scene makes it so that they'd have to move. And we didn't actually have a panel of which to show them moving. So looking at this page compared to this page, right? We're coming over here, we've got, I can't find the amount of patients, she can't even breathe the ship's air. Then we've got here where we're coming up on her at a thing. Maybe what I need to do is just have the picture, the whole view, lock in on her and have it like so. Or we're looking past the girl like so. And it shows them coming up on the girl. That might be better. Let's see if we can put her front back. Maybe for right now, until she will go. To just have this disappear to the so I can do that. Then I can just get to her face. Because her hair should be back, because I can't see her face. So this way, if we do this, then we can take our captain. Because the ship's atmosphere is almost 45% carbon dioxide. Certainly way beyond 600 parts per million. Humans are acclimated so that they can breathe the same atmosphere that the Najor breathe. So the Najor and the humans, the Najor breathe a mostly carbon dioxide atmosphere. So in order for the Najor to operate, they run a 50-50 mix almost of oxygen and CO2, which is why the Najor can't actually go out. That's why the doctor wasn't on the Princess, and the Princess went down on the planet, because he can't breathe. Moment is almost completely oxygen and nitrogen atmosphere. The Najor breathe carbon dioxide, so the compromise that they have made, the Gassine don't care. They're from a gas planet, a gas giant. So they are either living in a hologram as another character or another person on the ship, as these are either in a hologram or in a spacesuit, so that they can live in the atmosphere. The come on, I just lost it. The three-legged guys, I just lost their name. Completely lost it. It doesn't matter. Those guys, the three-legged guys, like Sergeant Betterspec, they don't breathe at all because they live in vacuum. So they don't care. Doesn't matter what atmosphere it is. So the only two creatures that actually breathe or respirate are the humans and the Najor, the tripods. They've got a name. I've just forgotten it. That's all. Because I randomly picked a name. A random generator. You know me. So those guys, so the only people who actually breathe the atmosphere are the Najor and the humans. So what I'll do is I'll have this guy's moving and in motion. This way it looks like he's moving over here to talk about her at this time. Like there's sort of both pieces to this story. So that puts these two races as the only races that in the Unity who have to respirate. In that instance, they compete. And so what they've done is they've made it so that the atmosphere is 50% oxygen, 50% CO2, give or take. And so humans then have an implant put into their lung system that allows them to filter out the CO2 and keep that cycling through their system. Because of that, that means that on board the ship's air system, there's no way that she can breathe. Alex can't breathe. She doesn't have that modifier. Which is, long story form, the reason why she was on Moment. It's the only planet that has a human-compatible atmosphere. Biggest sin that all these guys create is that they don't pass these. Yeah! I need to move coming down like so. Now I can move it closer. Kind of like that. How big of a shot will that be? And will that be significantly good enough to do the job, or should I back up to like here? So I think I'm going to back up to here. And take a look. Nope. Yes, but not until episode long time from now. I know exactly why Alex is put there, but I'm not telling you did a spoiler. That's part of the long game in the story. Yeah. Right? Although, I don't know, man. I have quite a few episodes planned before we get anywhere near that. So, that is way out there. However, knowing that, we are not eternal, I promise to write that down somewhere so that it's not lost forever or whatever if I get lost forever. I think I want further back. So maybe closer to episode 50. Maybe not that far down, but certainly far down. Even that far out, I have to go further back. So this one a bit further back. Gotta be careful, we're not even in the room anymore. The camera needs to be switched though. It's still. Now I'm going to change my render settings in general to 3000. 3000. Tonight. This is one of the hard parts of this particular technique, is planning it so that you can actually get the detail that you want without yeah? Well, maybe it was a secret, right? No, it wasn't a secret. We don't know what we're talking about yet. Nobody's talked to me about it. I just know that we will be talking about something. Invariably, we'll talk about something. Right? Now he looks kind of wild. Like, that was not a very comfortable looking pose. Like, conversational poses are kind of, that's not going to work. The problem is that everybody wanted to get way too weirdly dynamic with poses, and that's fine, but there's no, like, just standing around talking to people poses like that. It's always something strange and weird, and people in these contrapposto positions. You don't need to be in contrapposto positions. Talk with one another. And now it's off. Vogue pose, right? That's like really weird. Close enough to notice that he's standing in high heels. Weird. So I'm gonna, between this comic and the next, we're gonna make a bunch of just standing around standard poses. I'm gonna stop with this having to pull out Vogue poses. Just people standing and doing things so that we don't have to worry about all this having to adjust these poses. It's just a straightforward pose. Because this is the two of them just talking to one another. She's saying, strange signature, like that. What are you talking about? Yes, sir. Right. Besides, the truth is, technically speaking, as long as I've got my own poses and these are my own, then nobody can argue that, that I am tracing somebody else's artwork at all. I mean, the maquettes are completely modified. The poses are modified. It's really only the poses that are left that I'm using that's anybody else's stuff. These maquettes are now so far modified that I really wouldn't consider them even Daz's stuff, I'll leave enough that you can see eyelashes for her. That's important. And leave airspace in the top for them to be able to talk. It won't matter because I'm not going to use the background for this. So we're just going to use the front part as sort of a guide, just a little bit of a guide. I have her looking at this while he talks, looking at the girl. Again, I'm going to try to move his body into the reasonable pose for this. Put this in. And the last one. And looking straight at her. Give room to either side. Give especially some room for the technology if we can. Looking at this last panel, we want to make sure that this is speaking off screen to the left, and then but close enough that we can see her face and all of the equipment. And she's got a face mask on and stuff like that, so she's breathing. All right, and let's get this. It's not the last panel to be done in this particular comic, but it is close. Horribly close. That's weird. Oh, that's strange. I don't know why this isn't no, that's why. Work. And then we will start here. As far over as here. And that's it. That's the last of the renders for the standard comic. We still have a couple of small pieces that need to be done. I'm just saying that for all of our benefits, so we don't go, "Way, that's so cool!" Because we're not quite out of the woods yet. It's vital for us to have at least one complete and total dropout at least once in the show. So that was our drop right there. We're back, and we have the secret to the air shield. There you go. You know what? She probably has piercing. Right? I mean, she's a modern girl. She probably has piercings that there's nothing in those piercings anymore because that was taken from her when she was given birth. But she may still have piercings left in her body that haven't quite healed yet. Right? That might be a thing. That might be actually part of her character. At some point in time, she's like, "So I can do it anything I want." Like piercing. I do anything I want with the piercing thing, and everybody's just give her a weird look. Where's piercing or whatever? It's just bad at the time. I think that'd be kind of cool, actually. Now that I think about it, I like that. That is a cool plan. Right. Here. There we go. That's kind of cool, actually. I'd be happy with that. The blanket probably should go off the sides over here. Although I think she's probably wrapped in it like a burrito. Whereas normally we put but I think that's going to be a temperature control blanket. Otherwise, she'd just be laying on the table. Nobody would think about anything. Let's move to the next panel. You. Control. You. Give myself that. Put myself on the correct layer. This effect. Why are we stuck at 40? I'm going to need a thing about pen width. You've got to stop. But why? You have the wrong pen width. Good morning, Patsy. We are on the very last page, Patsy. Check it out. Inking in the last page. looks like we're connecting problems again. Connection 4 of 10, so we're at 40%. We're at 40%, guys. 40%. Can't take much more of this. We're gonna tear apart. You can't keep going this fast. So we don't know. We have no earthly idea. We have no perspective. Oh, well, thank you. I don't have a real Scottish accent. I just speak like Scotty. That's the way it goes. 'Tis the nature of being. Ready. All right. I think I move it slightly slower than one page an hour, but not very much slower than one page an hour. Yeah, I know. I'm at 40% or whatever. No, I'm actually back in the green again, but it does look like I'm having I'm having intermittent issues with I feel like you could do this almost. Right, to kind of indicate being perplexed. Kind of fold his making this is him raising an eyebrow, right? He's raising an eyebrow. He's kind of folding up one eye. Because they can make any shape they want, so might as well make any shape that they want. She, on the other hand, cannot, but it's okay, we don't need to. This isn't that hard to deal with. So then we just go beep. And then we can go down here, delete, deselect, and bring that up. And we'll come back in a minute and work on that one in a second. We're going to put a different he's actually out on YouTube because Brent's taking a break from Facebook for a little bit. I don't blame him. I would too. I'm going to take the... this is a full page, so I'm actually going to use all the backgrounds on this for this. So the... we want to make sure we do this right. And by right, that means right. Boy, I'm having issues. Yeah, we'll fix that, but we're trying to, I don't know. The problem we've got is that Troy is, we need to be paying for StreamYard out of the Geek Tank account and not out of my personal account. And Troy ran into some problems with that. And so he's kind of stopped and stymied. So for the moment, we're using the non-professional account for StreamYard because they want us to continue paying. And the solution, the easy solution, would be to tie it back to my personal bank account. But the problem is that I'm afraid people forget about it, and then when they do, it just keeps coming out of my personal bank account for the rest of my life. It's, again, easy, but not, the ideal situation. So poor Brent, who's trying to take a break from social media on that side, is stuck with us screwing that up. Because he was doing good, and we messed it up. Well, last night the feed was bizarre for me, but this morning it seems to be in better shape. So I'm guessing that whatever they were doing, they were dinking with it last night, and now they fixed it, and they're not dinking with it as much anymore. I don't know. But last night it was acting like my Instagram feed with its, I would get one post from one of you guys and then 4 posts of advertisements. And because you liked this, and because you liked that, and because you spent 30 seconds looking at this one thing. And oh man, I am still having a problem because somewhere along the line in Instagram, I looked at a video of a sailing boat. And so I still get sailing videos all the time. And it's like, I don't mind sailing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's not my thing. I mean, so and I get a bowling because this lady had this mechanical structure over her arm. So she went back for bowling and she bowled the bowl thing and her arm went clack. And it was really cool. And me being me, I was like, wow, what the heck is going on? So now I get tons of bowling stuff, which is fine, but I don't bowl nor care for bowling really that much. I mean, it was just that she had this mechanical thing on her arm. It was really neat looking. There's obviously some kind of mechanical assistance brace for her to, not damage her arm while she was bowling. But it was fascinating to me, as all things mechanical tend to be fascinating to me. And I don't know. I don't like this. We noticed you watched this thing, so we presume that you are like all other human beings who watch these things aspect of this. It's a little unnerving. I have cosplayers who sometimes are scantily clad because cosplayers tend to do that. And that's fine, but that does not mean that I'm really into the scantily clad people all the time. That's not my thing. So I'm kind of worried that following some of these cosplayers, who, by the way, it's okay for them to be scantily clad if that's their choice. But I'm not really I think it's too easy in today's environment and climate to just assume that I like porn. And so therefore, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't want to go that position. That seems problematic at best. You know what I mean? It's like, I know, right? Instagram's getting bizarre, and it's like getting rough to watch it and to go there. And that used to be my calm place where I would go to be, where I would, and I was intentionally not following people who got political because that was where I would go to stay away from the politics and stuff. And so it's aggravating because I don't. What I would do is go to Instagram to. She has chubby cheeks. Yeah, but that's the thing is like a couple of the cosplayers that I follow, they've got an OnlyFans going sort of thing, and in the OnlyFans, they like to get, whatever is a thing that their OnlyFans are interested in, and that's cool. I don't got any problem with that. That is fine, but I'm not interested in their OnlyFans. They're just buddies of mine, and they're good folk, just hanging out and watching what they do. People. So it's like I got lots of things to do besides, deciding that since you like somebody with OnlyFans, what you really should do is follow all these people who, are OnlyFans people. And well, okay, but I don't really care for that. I mean, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I just not my style. We might go over just a little bit because we are really painfully close to the end of this page, right? So I kind of want to continue with the page while I can. I should make his fingers just a little silly. The doctor only has fingers because it makes people comfortable. He doesn't need to have fingers, so there's that. And only has a uniform to conform with the Unity's code for uniforms. Wonder if there's like other parts of the Unity where, I mean, because like clearly we're all wearing uniforms to make the human zone feel human, right? But all of these uniforms probably don't actually exist elsewhere. So I'm kind of like, I wonder if there's if you go to, you know, yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, how do you, I don't want to, I don't, like Joni Brocious is a rather famous cosplayer. She's a super geek and she's awesome and I dig her. And she is a really neat person. She also does an awful lot of nude work. Nothing wrong with that. She's doing more sexy work now. And it's more, sexually oriented and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But for me, I'm kind of like, I liked it better when she was dressing as Ray. You know? She was dressing with Ray with all of the costume and not just some of the costume on. And hey, more power to her. She seems to be making a living off of this. And I'm all about that. But I really don't want all of the rest of her stuff. I still want to support her. But it's, I don't like the algorithm making these expectations of people. That's it. There's a certain amount of expectation, right? That the algorithm is making. It's not just presumption, it's expectation. We expect that you like this, so we're changing your feed for you. Because we expect that this is the kind of person you are. And that bothers me. You don't have agency over it, right? I don't have the ability to say, hey, I don't mind nudity. I don't mind naked pictures. I do not, however, want my feed swarmed by porn. And I want that expectation set. And I can't set that expectation. There's nothing wrong with a naked body. Yeah, and again, I don't have any problem at all if the person likes that, does that because they want to do that. That is their choice, and more power to them, especially if they're making money off of it. But I do kind of have a problem when it's me that has to deal with it. All right. Let's see how much of this we've sealed up. Hey, looking good. Yep, I don't either. In fact, my comic has points that it's going to make specifically about it. Entirely intentional. Background, clear that. Just touch up a little here and there. Give a little bit of room there. This just gives some space so that character doesn't get stuck. These are the important characters. I want you to look at them. So all I'm doing is just clearing out the background a little right around them there so that you can see around them. Especially since the background here is all the background of sickbay, right? And we have a lot of equipment back here that needs to be kind of cleaned up. On the same token, I'm going to go up on this level here, and we're going to just real quickly tap in some of these lines, because you see how it's not quite here because the render didn't quite make it. Tap in this real quick, like so, like so, like so. We're just tapping in and kind of make this look a little bit straighter. We're really close to this PC unit right up here. And this is part of the diagnostic unit that's kind of keeping an eye on her. I just want to make sure it's clean. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be kind of weird looking. And up here we got kind of a little bit of a weird glitch going on at this point. So I'm just going to clean that up as well, because there's no reason to have that be a mess. There we go. Okay, so it took me over for hot tube. I don't even know what that is. Yeah. And I get that. And I kind of understand and follow. Part of the problem is that, it gets to the point where you're making money by just taking off your clothes. Okay, I get that. Hot tub. Okay, cool stuff. Gotcha. And frankly, if I could pull that off, you know what I mean? But and I'm not knocking them for it. I can kind of see, though, the draw to it, right? I mean, it makes some sense. Oop, oop, oop. Come on, click in there. This guy right here, and right. So I mean, and I don't know. I mean, let's be realistic here. Let's just take this and move it from the nudity aspect. Let's say I could make a lot of money drawing circles, right? It's easy, doesn't take much power, doesn't take a lot of ingenuity. And, I've got a lot of other things to do with my life, but people are buying my circle drawings for, thousands of dollars each. And why am I doing my comic, right? I mean, I can kind of see the drive. If that kind of happened that way, I could understand it. For some of these people, they make a lot more money by just taking off their clothes. They don't have to do anything else. They be slightly sexy. Okay, that's cool. And some of these people, probably that's erotic and it turns them on. And I'm okay with that too. That's not for me to judge. So I kind of can't blame them in a way. I just don't need it. And for those of you who do that, just, keep us in mind, those of us out here in the real world who appreciate you for who you are, but not necessarily appreciate you solely for your body. We like you for what you're doing. So just keep that in mind. I don't need that line. And that is okay. I feel like that cleaned that up. Alrighty. Hey guys, that's it. 34 is in the can. We got a couple of other things we're going to have to work on. We're going to have to fix some stuff, and that's all right. We'll get there. I'm not as worried, but definitely we'll be working on this one. So I'm going to go on ahead and do a couple of things. I've got a moment or two left before we go to lunch and stuff like that. So I'm going to go on ahead and tap in some stuff so that we can get this done, so that we can, let's fix this, right? I mean, we're here. So let's go out to Bellatrix Rising. Let's go to Guide the Artist, go to Shared Resources. Let's look at some of our textures we can use for this, because textures would be good here. He's talking about things he's never seen before. I feel like that's probably a little too much for the sparkly circles, but it might be good for maybe cross-hatching. Kind of rolling down here, looking at the bottom. We got a wood type pattern, pin patterns, some confusion. We got a light pin pattern. It looks kind of like this. Let's take a look at this, right? At this light pin pattern we could use. That'd be kind of cool. We have some random patterns. It's usually one of the things I like to do is some of these random patterns like this. We get some things kind of like this one. This one's a good one to use for stuff like that, like purposely drawing on it. It's not good. Right? This pattern's good. Copy it and bring it over, and we'll tap in on this panel right here. Say paste. Right. It's a little small. I don't usually like to blow them up too much, but in this instance, it's probably okay. So like that, right? We're just kind of looking at some of the patterns we can use with this. I mean, other than some small parts that we're going to have to do, comic book one is at its final point here. So I don't know if I would start partying just yet, but we certainly are remarkably close. We've got some parts to do, but that was the last major page. All pages now have a thing in them now. Right? I mean, we still have some work. The screens need to be put in and things like that to kind of give. I don't know, this one needs to be rotated. It's not working, but it is. That's what we needed. There we go. So this page is now actually lined up. So save. I mean, other things like the grays aren't in yet. I'll put the grays in. That'll help. But we've got all of that stuff in, and now that this page is done, you can kind of see where this goes with the main panel pieces. They work. So So there we go. Now, let's go ahead and close that. We'll close this one. So now we look over everything, right? Looking here, I can still see that this page needs to be done. It's not quite, I mean, it's started, but it's not finished. This has got a missing piece. There's a missing panel there. There's a missing panel there. There's a missing panel here. So we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels. And then this splash. And then these panels here are quick renders. So yeah, we're down to pieces. Pieces parts, guys. We're down to pieces parts. And one will be out. So there we go. And as I suspected, we're at about an hour a page at this point in time, from square zero to complete. We're about an hour a page, a little over. But that's the benefit of using the maquettes. That's the speed of QuACk. QuACk is the fastest artist that we've got in our collective, and he can pull in about a page an hour when he is warmed up and sped up and everything. And the big benefit of this, there's multiple benefits, but the biggest benefit that I'm running into at this point in time is that even when I'm not, I'm not fully here, I'm just kind of, I can still do a page an hour, even if I'm not having a good drawing day, because the maquettes just guide me along. And so it helps a whole lot. But yeah, there we go. I mean, we're not done yet. We're not completely done. However, we'll be completely done this week. By Friday, this is done. This will be ready for print. Or at least ready for us to look it over individually and then go through and fix all the errors and screw ups and mess ups and yada, yada, yada. But book 1 is done, or at least relatively done. All the pages have ink on them, which is amazing to me. So tonight we'll work on book 1's associate pieces. Yeah, it's time for our final edit to go through everything. What I will probably do, Brent, if you are okay with it, and I don't know if Patsy wants to do this too or not, but I will roll this out as a PDF and I can email it to you. And then you can look it over and help me and see if I've missed it. The more eyes on target, the better. I know that you guys have been here for this entire time, but this is the time to go through and find out that I put the wrong punctuation in, or this is the time to find out that I messed up this frame, or that the scene really doesn't make that much sense, or stuff like that. I do. I can send it to you. So if you're cool with that, I will send you a PDF of this and we can do this. Hey, Brent, I got a question for you, my friend. I have, well, she gets the printout. We print it out for her so she can look over everything and make sure everything is clear for her too. So she gets a complete printout. I'd print it, but then I'd have to mail it to you. It might actually not be a bad plan then, Patsy. You might be actually more valuable because you'll be able to read it and look it over and go, I really don't get this scene. I don't get this scene at all. Or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you can get a good feel for it if you haven't been here literally every day with me on every page, going through this page to page. So, 42. So that's a thing. I've got a question for you, Brent. I've been getting the Microsoft single-use code thing over and over and over. I know somebody is trying to bulk hit to try to get into my email. I've changed the password, but I'm kind of doing and I've got 2-factor on. obviously. That's why it's using the single-use code. Should I be concerned because they can't get the single-use code? But clearly somebody is trying to hack my Microsoft account because I get about 10 of them a day. So is there something I should do? Is there anything further that I can do to keep my Microsoft account secure? Do I need to worry about it? The Microsoft account actually is critical. If I lose my Microsoft account, I'm going to have problems keeping control of my OneDrive and problems keeping control of even my PC because everything's logged in, but all my parental controls are also on there, so it'd be difficult to keep control of the kiddo. So something to kind of wonder whether that's an issue. Yeah, it's not. It's just that it's my old Hotmail account, and my old Hotmail account is ancient. It's so old, I actually don't have any numbers associated with it. It's just a very old email. I've had it since, I want to say, the mid-90s. So I'm sure it has been compromised more than once. I'm sure that it has been compromised. I mean, goodness, it's 25, 30 years old now. So I'm sure it's been compromised a number of times. But it's still, it's the one that all of my Microsoft stuff is connected to. So, yeah, I'll do that. That sounds like a thing. That sounds like a thing. All right, guys. I'm going to be out of here. I'm going to go do the lunch thing. This is my last lunch with the partner because she starts work tomorrow. So this is our last lunch together until the next school break, whenever that is. So I might as well enjoy it and have a good lunch with her and stuff like that, and see if I can't rouse the child. But either way, it's good to chat with all of you guys. Thank you very much, and thanks for hanging out with me. And I will see you all tonight. Bye-bye.